On the last episode, we went down into the lower undead burg, where we found Griggs of Vinheim, a sorcerer who went back to Firelink Shrine to sell his sorceries. We continued on, fighting ninjas, dogs, and surviving all kinds of ambushes, where we eventually found a unique vendor before fighting the vicious Capra demon on our way down into the depths. What's up, everyone? My name's Joel, and today rocking some new armor, as well as you see that battle axe we're finally going to try out with a target shield, and we're going to tackle the depths, see what kind of miscreants and other criminals lurk down here. So I mentioned before, this is a connecting area to where the next Bell of Awakening will be. It is fairly long, and then it'll connect to an area that's also fairly long, so it's going to be a little while till we're at the next Bell of Awakening, but these are both fun areas. I really like the depths. Afterwards, it'll connect to Blight Town. These are both very interesting areas. A lot of good items, a lot of unique enemies, things like this. They're also a little more difficult than the places that we've discovered so far. And it's going to be a good time going through them. So I'm excited. We see we're kind of going into this sort of underground sewer-like area. Seems to be just full of hollows so far, which is kind of strange. Down there we see some sort of butcher chopping meat. Looks like they've got like a sack over their head. And if you look down here, there's a hollow waiting for you. You can either jump down on him or he'll see you right away. You can just let him come up these stairs. Again, you know, these guys are not to be underestimated. You'll notice all these tables. They make it real hard to roll around or back up. Same with the pillars. It's a really congested area. So if you just run in trying to attack guys, you will easily get You'll easily get cornered, and they can overwhelm you easily. So there's actually a couple of ways to go down into the depths, and oh geez, you can see there, even with poison through with the wolf ring, that does a lot of damage, so I need to try to be more careful with those guys. So there's two ways you can get down into the depths, and we're just going to take one route on today's video. We're also going to be unlocking an NPC, and so it might take a couple, 2-3 videos to get through the depths, but I want to be thorough. I want to get everything down here because we're not going to be coming back. So yeah, like I said, today will just be one route. Yeah, that doesn't bode well for us. The red eyes of the butcher chopping meat with a big blade. We'll get to fight that person very soon. There are some hollows hiding around these corners, so just make sure you get them all before you head down. There's some wolves down here, so if you don't take out the hollow, start coming down here, start getting attacked by wolves, the hollow will come up behind you. So this, much like the lower undead burg that we just went through, can be full of, you know, traps, ambushes, things like that. So it's an area you kind of want to inch through. You don't want it to be, you don't just want to come through here like, oh, I got a +5 claymore, oh, I could take all you guys out. It's not like that. You still need to be tactical, strategic. So we see a water area below there. I want to try to signal this dog that's by that treasure chest before we fight the butcher, if it's at all possible. Come here, little doggy. Come on. Oh, we got the butcher too. That's okay. We'll go ahead and fight this person up here. You can see how easily those dogs can poise break you. Rather annoying. Luckily this armor I'm wearing has enough bleed resist that I don't really have to worry about that. That overhead slam can do a shit ton of damage if it hits you, so watch out for that. This is kind of an open area they give you, but fighting the butcher with the dogs can be a pain, and the pillars can also kind of be a pain, so it's really not that hard to just circle around and backstab, but I did equip the target shield so I could maybe try to get an easy parry in. Come on. They're not too difficult as long as you don't get hit by any of their really large attacks. And you can see the backstabs kind of come easy, so nothing too crazy. Oh, got a little speed to you. Oh, damn, you see that large attack taking me down even with the wolf ring. Huh. The AI was kind of wonky there. Kind of turned away from me and went to the table. That's funny. Yeah, you can see even with the wolf ring, that overhead attack will take you down, so you got to be careful with them. So yeah, it looked like they were cutting up some kind of large piece of meat and eating it. Some speculate that these are actually human remains and that they were eating humans. So here we got an important item. This is going to help us out a heck of a lot in the future. Large ember. Ember required for weapon ascension, a large high-quality ember, handled by the blacksmiths of Astora. So this will allow us, instead of just being capped out at +5 for our standard weapons, go to +10, which is really, really good for us. However, in order to ascend past the +5 weapon, we need large titanite shards, and we really haven't seen any of those yet, but we will start coming across them soon in the depths and Blighttown, so never fear, we will get those +5 weapons. So what I would consider to be the quote-unquote standard route is to come down here in this watery area. You can see there's a dog or two, a hollow. It wraps around and goes deeper into the depths. That would be what I consider to be the standard route. The not so standard route is after you kill this butcher, there's actually a hidden pathway down here behind these boxes. This is actually going to be the route that we're about to take. So this is going to be our first introduction into the depths right here. However, I do want to clear out this little area before we go there, just to show you guys what else is in here, and we are going to find something important over here. So watch out for these dogs, they can get kind of brutal. I do wish my +5 battle axe was one-shotting them with an R1 swing, but it's fast enough that I really don't mind too much. You know, I can just kind of do a double swing, not too bad. The overhead is a little, the R2 overhead swing is a little slow. So I'll just use R1s on them, but I still just like the speed, the grace of the battle axe. It's got, you know, an arch swing that actually has a much larger hitbox than it seems. And then the R2 is a heavy overhand attack, and that actually does a lot of poise break. Like, you can knock some guys down with that. And the two-handed are basically the same. You've got a side sweeping arch and an overhand. I like the height on that. You can hit, you know, taller guys over you. But this two-handed is one of the reasons why I like it the best, because two-handing the battle axe, it does crap tons of poise break. So there are certain enemies you can literally stun lock by just R1ing the battle axe over and over, and meanwhile, even though it's not doing as much damage as something like a claymore, drake sword, halberd, etc., they're stunned. So it can be really good. Up here you'll notice tricky little guy standing up there. We also could have seen him up where the area where the hollows were with all the tables, but I didn't want to show him quite yet. So you can see the same red eyes as the other butcher, and when you come down here, start walking this way, whoop. So if you don't hear that and you just come over here, you will get a heck of a surprise. Oh geez, clipping me through the wall again, really? You gotta love Dark Souls. Yeah, super easy to just go behind, you know, roll out of the way of the attacks. Not too crazy difficult of an enemy. That overhead is so slow, you can just sneak up behind him, him or her. I want to say that it's actually females, if I remember reading on the forums. But I don't know. See what's on him or her. A sack. Cool. It's somewhat of a rare drop. Let's see here. Bloodstained patchwork sack by the undead man-eating cook lurking in the depths. 2 eye holes have been haphazardly cut out. It is unexpectedly soft and comfortable to wear, but it is probably near meaningless in terms of defense. Which is true. This is basically just more of like a fashion item. You know, very brutal metal looking, something out of a horror movie, but it's not very good. So, cool item. A little bit of lore about the butchers down here. So down in here where the butcher was guarding, we see a room full of barrels and a random dude in the corner.
Here, over here. Please, you must help me.
It's important to know that if you swing at these barrels to break them, you can potentially accidentally attack him, even though he's friendly. And if you attack him even once, he will be upset and attack you back. So I suggest rolling.
Thank you. I would have been a supper without you. Been eaten alive. I shudder to think. Thank you. Thank you dearly. I am Laurentius, Lord the Great Swan. I will not forget my debt to you.
Right, so we've met Laurentius of the Great Swamp, and apparently he was to be her supper. So this is a clue that the butchers might be female, because it looked as if there was a butcher guarding the door. So another clue that maybe they were eating humans, because he said he may have been her supper. So this is also a clue that they're probably females. So yeah.
Oh, hello there. I'm fine, thanks to you.
Seems like a nice guy.
Oh, hello there.
All right, so Laurentius is a pyromancer. So if you don't start with the pyromancy class, this will be your first introduction to the pyromancy skill, which just so happens to be very good in the depths. So what we're actually going to be doing is going back to Firelink Shrine, and we are going to pick up a little bit of pyromancy before we continue on. If you remember right, I actually rested back at Firelink Shrine last, so I can just homeward bone back. It seems counterproductive to just go in a little ways and then bone back and then have to run all the way back to the depths, but it's a good enough advantage having the pyromancy that it's worth it. So I'm going to do that right now.
Well, I see you made it out. Yeah, I made it out safely too. I have my pyromancer the Great Swan, so I can usually manage with a bit of care. Oh yeah, by the way, I can share my spells with you. I think you have a knack for it. All you need are the materials. I'll be pleased to help you. Unless you find the magic's unsavory.
I always kind of felt like this was From Software's way of punishing people who just kind of mash X through the dialogue, because he doesn't say, "Would you like magic?" and then you can automatically answer yes. He says, "I'll give you magic unless you find them unsavory." And so if you don't really read it and you just hit yes, you're basically telling him, "I don't want your magic." So it's kind of, even though it starts on the no answer, so you could just mash buttons through, I like that it's kind of a reverse question. It's not, "Do you want magic?" It's, "Do you hate magic?" So I kind of like that little flair.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm sure that they'll be of some use, some assistance. Here, first take this.
Pyromancy Flame. So this will basically be the catalyst for pyromancy spells, much like the talismans are for the miracles.
Flame from the Great Swamp. Now you're a fully fledged pyromancer. Why, let's get started right now.
All right. Let's see if he has anything else to say.
Pyromancy is the art of casting fire. produce flame, then channel it, just as our ancestors did. A pyromancer must be in tune with nature herself. My home, the Great Swamp, is an abundant store of nature. You will understand one day. It only takes time. Pyromancy has a, well, rather primitive aspect to it. It meshes poorly with advanced culture, and pyromancers are considered rather unsavory, which is fine, as I never got along with anybody anyway. So, for me, turning undead didn't change a thing.
So we see a little bit of dialogue there that he's also undead.
A pyromancer's flame is a flame develops right along with his skill. When I gave you that flame, I gave you a part of myself. Please take good care of it. A pyromancer's flame, please.
Alright, let's see what he's got. So modify equipment. This just allows you to upgrade your pyromancy flame will, which will in turn upgrade the damage it does. So you can see there the magic adjust, the first stat there, goes up a little bit. The magic adjust will basically be the stat that dictates how much damage your pyromancies do. I think they also minorly scale with faith. I'll check more into that later, but basically upgrading this flame is going to be your way to do more damage, and you only need souls in this game, which is really great. Let's see what spells he's got. Fire orb. The flaming fire orb explodes on impact, causing fire splash damage in a spectacle which seems to symbolize the strength of the fire manipulating pyromancers. Combustion. One of the most basic pyromancies. For this very reason, the flame thus created is fierce. Iron flesh. Pyromancy of Carmina, who harness the power of flame to actualize the inner self. Iron flesh boosts defense and resilience. Use of this pyromancy requires caution as the caster becomes exceedingly heavy and unable to move freely. This doesn't seem very good, especially because it really slows you down and you can't roll. However, there are certain instances where you can really abuse it, so it's actually a very good pyromancy. Flash sweat. Pyromancy of Carmina, who harness the power of the flame to actualize inner self. Intense sweating reduces flame damage. Carmina, the most accomplished pupil of Salomon the Master Pyromancer, pioneered new directions for the art of pyromancy. So here we're learning a little bit about the history of the pyromancers. Fireball. The fire damage caused by fireballs makes them effective against corporeal beasts and undead who by nature fear flame. Okay, so I think for now we're just going to get combustion. You'll notice next to where it says slots up top, it'll also say uses. Some things have more uses than others. Combustion at this point has the most, and for reasons we'll see later, having more uses is going to be better for us, so I'm just going to pick up combustion for now. And we'll probably get fire orb. We'll get the rest of these later, but for now we don't need them. And I will modify the pyromancy flame a little bit. I don't want to spend too many souls here, but yeah, we can go +3, why not? That's fine.
Goodbye then. Come back if you find anything new.
Laurentia seems like a pretty upstanding guy, especially considering the company around him. He seems like he's an okay guy, so that it remains to be seen if he is, but so far getting good vibes from him. So, after you encounter the Capra Demon, it actually triggers an NPC event over here. So now we see that Petrus's homeboys have arrived, including what looks to be some kind of cleric over by those pots, along with her 2 bodyguards that he had mentioned before. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh, hello. My guests have finally arrived. I will be departing with them shortly. So, I'm afraid I will be saying goodbye soon. It was a pleasure.
Okay, so we met up with them. They're going to go on their journey. Interesting that it allows us to basically find hints before this journey that they go on that Petrus is kind of shady.
Oh, Rhea is the youngest daughter of the good house of Thurland. Those young knights are her old schoolmates, but I'm not sure what to make of them. I'm afraid they may be a bad influence.
So here we learn that the cleric's name is Rhea, and that she's of House Thurland. And that these are her bodyguards, and he thinks that they may be a bad influence for some reason.
Rhea is the young... but I'm... Come again.
Let's see what they have to say.
Hmm? What have we here? You look awfully raggedy. Times are grim. The least you can do is look sharp. Don't you dare meet my lady like that. You might scare her off for good.
What are you talking about, man? This armor's pimp. Got my battle axe and my target shield. You're the one that looks weird. Yeah, I don't think he's talking about us being hollow because we're human. It's just kind of being an ass.
Oh, you again. What business have you? I don't suppose we can help, though. We accompany my lady on her righteous mission. It is quite a chore, but I'm stuck with her. And Nico, too. I can't very well abandon them now.
Okay, so he, other than telling us we look like shit, he doesn't seem like too bad of a guy. Just noble young man protecting his milady. And apparently we got Nico here too. Let's see what Nico has to say. I like his weapon. Okay, so he just speaks gibberish, so whatever.
Oh, it's you. We're to leave momentarily. The catacombs aren't exactly my idea of a good time, but what can one do? I do hope we meet again, rare or not.
So here he tells us that their mission is to go down into the catacombs on this righteous mission, and they're leaving momentarily, as Petrus mentioned as well. And then he said some kind of weird chant, Rary or Nox.
Oh, it's you. We're to leave. The catacombs aren't... What can one... Rary or not?
Okay, let's talk to my lady. She seems to be praying in here, and this used to be a shrine, so seems like she knows that this was a shrine. But she's just praying to a wall. Seems weird.
You are undead as well. Then we've no time to fraternize. I have my mission and you no doubt have yours. We must not let this curse overcome us.
A couple interesting things about that dialogue. First of all, she says she's undead. I don't know if that means they're all undead, but she said she's undead as well. And she knows that we have a mission. You have a mission, I have mine as well. So she understands probably the tale of ringing the bells of awakening and whatnot. But interesting that she's not trying to ring the bells of awakening. She's going down into the catacombs.
Did I not explain the urgency of our tasks? Or are you so uncouth as to lack such judgment? By the looks of you, I should think not.
So she's saying, oh, how, like we're bothering her by talking to her. Did I not explain the urgency of our task? Who are you so uncouth as to lack judgment? Oh, by the looks of you, you're not. So she could tell that we're not any ordinary hollow. And she seems to be chomping at the bit to get out of here.
Did I not explain the or are you so... By the looks of you...
Okay, so that's all we get from her. So she's on some kind of righteous mission. And Petrus says that she's of House Thurland. So we've seen talk of Thurland clerics, and there's a Thurland talisman, so it seems to be associated with clerics and miracles. And he said that she's of House Thurland, meaning that is her family. So she seems to be of some kind of possibly high pedigree, royalty, something like that. So she seems important, especially since she's got 3 bodyguards. But there seems to be some kind of something going on between the 3. Petrus is shady. He doesn't like these 2. This guy seems kind of chivalrous. This guy can't talk. Like, this is a motley crew for sure. So they're going to leave soon, as they said, and we can be sure that we're going to meet some, or if not all of them, down in the catacombs. So interesting. We will peace out and talk to them later. So I'm going to go ahead and run back to the catacomb, or to the depths. Beforehand, I'm going to check with our boy Crestfallen just to make sure he doesn't have any new dialogue. Just to make sure he's not suicidal.
Did you see her? That virtuous little maiden, complete with followers in tow. They're probably going straight to pillage graves. I've heard enough about Milady for a lifetime.
So he seems to think that maybe they're just going down there to find treasure. Milady, Rhea, seems that she has a little more urgent task than just that, but Crestfallen, being cynical and pessimistic as he is like, I'm tired of hearing about my lady. They're just a bunch of grave robbers.
Have you been to the ruins of New Londo below? Just head down the stairs and take the lift. It's certainly worth a visit. It was once an undead city. You may find a clue or two, unless the ghosts find you first.
So we're hearing about what was once an undead city below Firelink Shrine called New Londo, which apparently is filled with ghosts. You can go there. You can go there from immediately, right from the get-go at the start of the game, but that's somewhere we're not going to tackle until a little bit later. It's more of an advanced area than where we're at now.
How did that old man make it back? Unexpected. But I suppose stranger things have happened.
So that dialogue happens when Laurentius comes back. Now, if you looked at Laurentius, he doesn't seem like an old man in terms of he looks to be similar age of everyone else, including Crestfallen. So I am not sure if he's saying that because perhaps maybe Laurentius is using some kind of spell that makes him look younger, or maybe we just can't tell our age because we're all undead, etc. But honestly, what I think that might be is I think it might be a messed up dialogue that they didn't fix at the last version of the game. I think at one time Laurentius may have been an old man that they changed him to a younger guy and just forgot to change Crestfallen's dialogue. You'll see a lot of localization issues. This is a Japanese game originally, so even though they've done a really good job of translating over a lot of the vocabulary and it's pretty tight in most spots, there are still some issues, and we'll see more of that as we continue.
Oh, have you seen that terribly morose lass? The Firekeeper. She's stuck keeping that bonfire lit. Sad, really. She's mute and bound to this forsaken place. They probably cut her tongue out back in her village, so that she'd never say any god's name in vain. How do these martyrs keep chugging along? I'd peter out in an instant.
Alright, so he tells us about the Firekeeper, that perhaps maybe her tongue was cut out because to keep her from saying any god's name in vain, apparently. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen, but perhaps it was her tongue being cut out that makes her mute.
Hmm? What? I'm not...
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run back to the depths, and I will meet you guys there. Alright, so we're back at the depths. We're going to continue to take out these hollows. And, like I said, follow that first shortcut. That's not really a shortcut, it's more of just an alternate path. But again, 2 paths leading through the depths, or at least leading through the beginning of the depths. You can see the butchers don't respawn, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. Another reason why I don't mind coming back after I get Laurentius, because I know that this area is just going to be hollows, so you know, nothing too crazy. Just hollows, a few wolves, or a few dogs, no big deal. So, go down here. Again, fight the dogs. You don't necessarily have to take this path. It will lead to the same areas you can access otherwise, with the exception of the first small area. This will bring us out to a ledge overlooking an area. That ledge you can't access to anywhere other than here, but everywhere else that it connects to, you can get to otherwise. So it's not like you're missing out on anything really by going down here, not going down here, except for one treasure over there you see on the ledge. And down here, you'll see a giant rat king. This is also a very good vantage point to take him on. If you connect to this area down below and you're on foot, it's going to be much more difficult to take that guy out, whereas up here we can just use range attacks. So also interesting that below that hole where the butchers were is just a pile of bones and dead bodies and stuff, armor, you see. So apparently once they were done eating the corpses, they just tossed them down that back hole. Interesting, the little details they throw in here. Okay, so again, this is probably the only treasure that you'll miss out on if you don't go this way. Everything else you can get. We get the spider shield. Shield of the Savage Mountain Bandits, uniquely shaped with a large black spider etched upon it, has resistance to poison. And it does have pretty decent poison resist. It doesn't show it on here. Basically, if you were to be attacked by anything that would cause poison buildup and you block it, it will not. There are certain attacks where even if you block them and it doesn't deal any damage, you will still get the poison buildup, but this will not. So yeah, we'll go ahead and rock this for a while. The depths does have some creatures that can poison you, so sure, why not? Alright, so like I said, you can take this guy out with some range attacks. You can use fire bombs, bow and arrows, but I wanted to go ahead and try out and get away from that little waterfall over there. It's kind of loud. I wanted to try out using some of those poison arrows on him, because that just seems cool. I am not 100% sure if we can do this. He may be immune to poison, so we'll see. He is a rat, so thinking by now usually he'd be poisoned, so I don't think he's gonna get poisoned. Oh yeah, there you go. Very minor effect, so not that great. We might be better off just shooting him with regular arrows. Well, it stays on for a while though. But yeah, he does seem to be slightly resistant to poison, even though he can be poisoned, but it's one way to try to take him out. You can also use fire bombs. Those are pretty effective, but as you can see, even the wooden arrows, they're doing enough to just kind of cheese him from up here. He's not that hard on foot either. He just has some attacks that break your poise, and it's also a vision problem. He can really block your vision, and then you just have trouble knowing what to do. Easy to get flustered, you know, that kind of thing. Alright, so we get 1,000 souls, and looks like he dropped a treasure down there, so go ahead and check that out in a second. Humanity. Great, thanks bro. That wasn't very much, but we'll take it. Behind here we see a few rats, something to look forward to. Sewer chamber key. That sounds pretty valuable. Let's see what that is. Key to the sewer chamber in the depths. In any community, a few bad apples are sure to exhibit insatiable greed. If they were turned undead and banished to the depths, would they reconsider their ways? Use this key to see for yourself. My guess is no, but again, we can use the key to see for ourselves. Through this passageway, we see a door and a ladder leading up somewhere. A hint at future areas. This is kind of a labyrinth like we saw in item descriptions before, so we will be taking multiple branching paths. Get a soul item here. So, we can go this way. Take a path down there to this treasure. We'll just nab this real quick. You can also see a pitfall right there. Want to be careful of those in these tight corridors. You'll see pitfalls occasionally. But I think we're going to go down this watery area first. See what awaits down here. I always like to slide down the side. I feel like it's a little safer. It's not really, but it's just OCD. I just feel that way. Alright, so here we see some crazy bug-eyed lizards, as well as all this goop everywhere. And they will inflict curse upon you, which is horrible. You do not want to get cursed down here. So, we're going to need to take extra precaution. In fact, we might want to equip some curse resist armor if we have it. You'll also see rats kind of popping out of nowhere sometimes. I think he popped out of a box or something. See another one right there. So, this area is going to be kind of long. So for now, I think we're just going to go ahead and stop and continue on the next part. Maybe equip some curse resist armor. Maybe equip another weapon. We'll see. We are getting close to where we will be finding a connecting bonfire. And yeah, we'll do that next episode and check out the rest of the depths. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next episode.